Susan turned 65 on March 15th. She was healthy, active, and still working part-time at a small bookstore. She thought she had plenty of time to figure out Medicare. After all, she had her employer's health insurance. What could go wrong? She missed her Medicare enrollment deadline by just 8 days. That tiny mistake now costs her $1,800 more every single year for the rest of her life. And here's the terrifying part. 400,000 seniors fall into this exact same trap every year. Medicare isn't complicated because the government wants to confuse you. It's complicated because one wrong move can cost you thousands. In the next 17 minutes, I'm going to show you the trap, the warning signs, and most importantly, your action plan to avoid it completely. If you're between 64 and 66, or if someone you love is turning 65 soon, this video could save them a fortune. Let's talk about what actually happens when you miss your Medicare deadline. You have exactly 7 months to enroll in Medicare. 3 months before your 65th birthday, your birthday month itself, and 3 months after. This is called your initial enrollment period. Miss this window, and you trigger something called the late enrollment penalty. Now, this isn't like a library fine where you pay a few dollars and move on. This is permanent. You pay this penalty every single month for as long as you have Medicare, which for most people means for life. Here's how the math works. For Part B, which covers doctor visits and outpatient care, you pay an extra 10% for every 12-month period you were late. For Part D, which covers prescriptions, you pay 1% of the national base amount for every month you delayed. Let's use real numbers. The Part B premium in 2025 is $174.70 per month. If you enroll 2 years late, that's a 20% penalty. Your new premium becomes $209.64 every month. That's an extra $34.94 monthly, or $419 every year. Over 20 years, you've thrown away $8,380, money that could have gone to your grandchildren, your travel fund, or literally anything else. But why do so many people fall into this trap? Because the rules are deliberately confusing. You turn 65, but that's not the same age as full Social Security retirement, which might be 67. You assume things automatically happen. They don't. You're still working and have employer insurance, so you think you're covered. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. It depends on how many employees your company has. You're on COBRA after losing your job. COBRA sounds official, so it must count, right? Wrong. It doesn't count as creditable coverage for Medicare purposes. Or you're simply healthy and think, I'll save money by waiting. Except the penalty costs more than any premiums you'd save. Let me introduce you to 4 people who learned these lessons the expensive way. First, there's Michael. He turned 65 while still working full-time as an accountant. He had health insurance through his employer and figured he'd enroll in Medicare when he retired. Seemed logical. The problem, his firm only had 12 employees. For companies with fewer than 20 employees, Medicare must be your primary insurance. Once you hit 65, Michael retired at 67 and discovered he owed 2 full years of penalties. His logic cost him $840 annually forever. Then there's Patricia. She was 63 and covered under her husband's insurance plan from his job. When her husband retired at 65, they both lost that coverage. Patricia thought she'd just continue on his plan during the transition. But there was a 63-day gap before their new coverage kicked in. That gap triggered the penalty. She hadn't realized that when your spouse's coverage ends, you both need to enroll immediately. Now she pays extra every month because of a 2-month mistake. Next is David. He lost his job at 64 and went on COBRA to bridge the gap until 65. COBRA kept him insured for 18 months, so he thought he was fine. He'd enroll in Medicare at 66, no rush. Except COBRA doesn't count as creditable coverage for Medicare. The moment he turned 65, his clock started ticking. By the time he enrolled at 66, he had a full year of penalties waiting for him. Finally, there's Jennifer. She's 65, runs 3 miles every morning, takes no medications, and hasn't seen a doctor in 5 years. She thought, why pay for insurance I won't use? She'd enroll at 67 when she might actually need it. Except at 66, she had a sudden medical emergency, racked up $45,000 in bills without coverage. And when she finally enrolled, she got hit with penalties on top of everything. Her gamble failed spectacularly. So how do you know if you're about to fall into the trap? Here are 5 red flags. Warning sign number 1. You're 64 years and 9 months old. This is your first enrollment month. Right now, today, you need to mark your calendar. Don't tell yourself you'll remember. You won't. Life gets busy. Set 3 separate reminders. Warning sign number 2. You're planning to retire within the next 2 years. You need to coordinate your Medicare enrollment with your retirement date. And remember, the size of your employer matters. If your company has fewer than 20 employees, you must enroll at 65 even if you're still working. Call your HR department 6 months before your birthday. Warning sign number 3. Your employer coverage is changing. Maybe your company is downsizing. Maybe they're switching insurance providers. Or maybe they're reducing retiree health benefits. Any of these changes means you need to act immediately. Don't wait to see what happens. Warning sign number 4. You're on COBRA. If you've been on COBRA between ages 63 and 65, you absolutely must enroll in Medicare the moment you turn 65. Set a reminder for 3 months before your 65th birthday and start the process then. Warning sign number 5. You're receiving Social Security but haven't enrolled in Medicare. A lot of people assume that if they're getting Social Security checks, Medicare enrollment happens automatically. It doesn't. Automatic enrollment only happens if you start taking Social Security at 65 or older. If you started at 62, 63, or 64, you have to manually enroll in Medicare at medicare.gov. Here's your 5-step action plan. Step 1. Know your timeline. Let's say your birthday is June 15th. Your enrollment window opens March 1st. You can enroll during March, April, May, June, July, August, or September. September 30th is your absolute deadline. Miss that, and October 1st your penalties begin. Write these dates down. Put them in your phone. Tell your spouse. Tattoo them on your arm if you have to. Step 2. Evaluate your current coverage. Ask yourself these questions. Am I still working? If yes, does my employer have 20 or more employees? If yes, you can potentially delay Medicare, but check the details with HR. If no, you must enroll at 65. Am I on my spouse's insurance? If yes, does their employer have 20 or more employees? Make sure you get documentation proving you had creditable coverage. Am I on COBRA? If yes, enroll in Medicare immediately. Do I have VA benefits or car? These have complex rules, so call Medicare directly at 1-800-MEDICARE. Step 3. Get documentation. If you're delaying Medicare because you have employer coverage, request a creditable coverage letter from your employer's HR department. This letter proves you had valid insurance. Keep this letter forever. If Medicare ever questions why you enrolled late, this letter protects you from penalties. Step 4. Enroll at the right time. You can enroll online at medicare.gov, which is the fastest method. You can call 1-800-MEDICARE. You can visit a Social Security office in person, but you'll need an appointment. Or you can mail in Form CMS for OB, though this takes 30 days or more. I recommend online enrollment. Once you're done, screenshot or print your confirmation page. Save it. Step 5. Set future reminders. Medicare isn't a one-time decision. Every year from October 15th to December 7th, you can review and change your Part D prescription plan. If you choose a Medigap plan, you have specific enrollment windows. Set annual reminders so you never miss important deadlines. Maybe you're watching this video and realizing you've already missed your deadline. Don't panic. You have options, though they're limited. There's a general enrollment period every year from January 1st to March 31st. Anyone can enroll during this time. Your coverage starts July 1st. The penalty still applies, but at least you'll have insurance. There's also something called a special enrollment period. If you lost employer coverage, either yours or your spouse's, you get an 8-month window after that coverage ends. If you enroll during this special enrollment period, there's no penalty. If you had valid coverage, but still got hit with a penalty, you can appeal. You'll need documentation, which is why that creditable coverage letter I mentioned earlier is so critical. The success rate for appeals is only about 30%, but it's worth trying. You'll file a request for reconsideration form, include your proof of coverage, and submit it within 60 days of receiving your penalty notice. Let's quickly cover the big picture of Medicare, so you understand what you're re-enrolling in. Medicare has 4 parts. Part A covers hospital stays and is usually free. Part B covers doctor visits and costs $174.70 per month in 2025. Part C, also called Medicare Advantage, is an alternative that replaces Parts A and B. Part D covers prescription drugs, and varies by plan. ULL also need to decide between original Medicare with a Medigap supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan. These are two completely different approaches. You cannot have both. This decision impacts your coverage for years, so research carefully. Budget for additional costs. Part B is $174.70 monthly. Part D averages $30 to $80 per month. Medigap plans run $100 to $300 monthly, depending on your state and the plan level. Medicare Advantage plans range from $0 to $150 monthly. And don't forget out-of-pocket maximums. Plan accordingly. Here's what you need to do based on your age right now. If you read 64 to 64.5 years old, calculate your exact initial enrollment period dates. Set 3 calendar reminders. Review your current insurance and note your employer size. Request your creditable coverage letter if you're still working. Start researching Part D prescription plans at medicare.gov. Decide whether you want original Medicare with Medigap or Medicare Advantage if you re 64.5 to 65.5 years old. Enroll now if you in your enrollment window. Choose a Part D plan even if you don't take any prescriptions currently. Apply for Medigap if you're choosing original Medicare, or select your Medicare Advantage plan. Save all confirmation numbers and emails. Verify your coverage start date. If you missed your deadline, enroll during the next general enrollment period from January to March. Gather any creditable coverage documentation you have. File a penalty appeal if you believe you had valid coverage. Budget the penalty into your monthly costs. Set a reminder that your coverage starts July 1st. One deadline. Lifelong consequences. That's the Medicare trap in 7 words. But here's the good news. Knowledge prevents the trap. You now know what 400,000 seniors every year don't know when they make their mistake. You know the timeline, the warning signs, and the exact steps to protect yourself. If you found this helpful, do me a favor. Send this video to someone turning 65. Share it with your parents, your aunt, your neighbor. You could save them thousands of dollars. Drop a comment below and tell me, are you approaching 65? What's your biggest Medicare confusion? I read every single comment, and if you want to go even deeper, my next video breaks down Medicare Advantage versus Medigap, and which one is actually better for your situation. I'll see you there.